Here's the Sunday night update on the storm system coming through. We're starting to see winter storm watches, winter storm warnings being issued. Notice those go across areas like Omaha into Des Moines. Winter storm watch still in effect for Wisconsin and Illinois. Now, I am anticipating these will be extended at least into northern lower Michigan and the upper peninsula, most likely not down to the south because we'll have a round of snow, but then we'll likely turn over into rain and melt. Probably at most maybe a winter weather advisory for some of us. So here's how we're going to be tracking the next couple of storm systems. It is very important to keep up to date on the forecast. I'll be posting things here on YouTube. I'll also keep our website up to date, social media galore, and of course our broadcasts on television as well. But as a viewer, please check back for updates. Remember, the first storm system will impact how the next storm system hits us. That one will impact the next one, and so on and so forth. It's not always black and white. There is a lot of gray and a lot of changes can happen to a forecast like this. Bottom line, winter is really moving into the Great Lakes. We've lacked it pretty much in full so far. Now we're going to start making up for some lost time. Keep in mind, with multiple storm systems, this still applies. We're 1 to 3 days out from the first one now, arriving on Tuesday. Probably about 3 to 5 day range now for the second one. And then of course there might be more after that. So those are pretty far down the line, but we will keep you up to date. And even the same day or even tomorrow night, Monday night, before this thing moves in, we could have just a small tweak to the forecast. That's always possible until it actually makes its way in, but we are keeping an eye on everything. So here's how the first one looks right now. We're looking for heavier snow at times, and this is primarily for Lansing, Jackson, Flint, and Detroit. Ann Arbor as well, not so much Grand Rapids. They'll be more towards the snowy side of this thing. But snow Tuesday morning could be heavy at times. And yes, it'll be warm. Yes, the ground is warm. But there can only be so much melting. So if it falls faster than it can melt, it still accumulates on the roadways and we could still have a dicey morning commute. Then we transition over to rain, and that rain snow line could go all the way up to maybe US 10 or even further off to the north. So everything that falls here is going to melt there. We're not going to be left with a lot of snow after this unless you're far up north, like Traverse City, Gaylord, Grayling, etc. A little bit of snow on the wraparound side, but I'm talking a little bit. For most of us, maybe 1 to 2 inches, if that. Visibility as the heavier stuff comes through could be a little bit lower, and yes, we'll have some gustier winds. So even if there's only a little bit of wraparound snow, keep in mind some of that could blow over those roadways, causing just a couple of slick spots as we go forward. Now, into Tuesday, winds, as you can see here, about 15 to 20 miles per hour. These are sustained. Then eventually, if I were to put this in a little bit more motion, Wednesday they'd be out of the northwest, 15 to 20 miles per hour as well. So I put the numbers over the model here. Notice again, Monday, not a huge deal at all. Good day to get any errands done that you need to. But snow moves in, and this is where it could be heavier during the morning, despite it being warm out and despite the ground being warm. Rain snow line lifts off to the north. Notice it goes north of Lansing there pretty quickly, and then even further off to the north, like I said, maybe even all the way up to areas like US 10, maybe even M55 for some of us. But look how warm it'll be. So everything that falls in the morning, done. Melted off before you know it in the afternoon. But it could fall very quickly in the morning. We could see about 2 to 4 inches, and just because there's a little bit of higher terrain right here, maybe about 4 to 6. And again, I'd gravitate more towards the 4 to 5 side there, but I put 6 as kind of incorporating the outliers. Generally about 2 to 4 around Lansing with the melting taking place. But I have all this big red dotted line around here because anything in this map could melt off by the afternoon and evening, and we're left with almost nothing afterward, especially with those heavier rain showers coming through. So again, this system starts off as snow, turns into rain as we really lift the warmer air in. I mean, we're dragging warmer air in from Georgia all the way up into the Great Lakes. Notice all snow all the time for Gaylord and the eastern UP. Quick wraparound on the backside. Now, I have the camera flipping around because, again, we're tracking multiple systems. Here's another one diving out of the Rockies, gathering Gulf moisture, headed right our direction by the time we get into Friday afternoon. So this could be another messy one, you know, multiple storm systems in the same week. This one does appear though to be a little bit more on the snowier side, and then you have cold air spilling in from Canada that'll kick off the lake effect snow machine as we get into the weekend. Big news for folks up north, I know, because the tourism industry up there is really taking a hit this year, but we could have multiple rounds of snow really adding up there. Remember, down to the south here, a lot of this will be melting off. And that was the European model. The American model showing the same thing. Everything south of this purple area here, so this whole area could melt off through Tuesday afternoon. And then again, we bring another system on through. The American model has it further down to the southeast. I'm thinking it'll probably gravitate to the northwest just like it's doing with the first system. So if that trend continues, we'll expect those second systems on the American model to also move that way. Either way, 8 to 14 days out, the whole week after the current 7-day forecast, we have a 60 to 70% chance of below average temperatures. And on top of that, winds look like they will be out of the west and a little bit northwest further to the north. That is really going to set off the lake effect snow machine. So whether we have system snow or lake effect snow, it looks like everyone is going to see a healthy amount of snow through the next couple of weeks.